Hey guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I got started with modeling. It's actually kind of a weird story because I never in a million years thought that I would have modeled. I obviously liked the idea of it. I was one of those girls who would watch America's Next Top Model whenever it was on or whenever there were marathons, but I never considered the fact that I would one day be one. When I was in high school, I had my eyes set on becoming a neurologist because of just my grandfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and so I wanted to be a part of a career that was able to find research on the cure or how to have an easier lifestyle with having Alzheimer's. So that was kind of my passion at the time when I was discovered. But I actually got started because one of my mom's friends is a photographer, but she does lifestyle photography like weddings and like baby photo shoots and things like that. So she's never really done anything fashion wise, but she invited my little sisters and I to go on set one day just so she could update her website and have new images of people. And she happened to really like the way that I was photographing, and at the end of the day she actually gave me a list of modeling agencies to contact here in Miami. And at first I was kind of weirded out because I'd been told to model here and there, but I'd never been actually like given information to move forward in that process. And I was just about to start high school, so my eyes were still set on becoming a neurologist. So I tucked away the list of agencies and I completely forgot about it. And then I began high school. I was 14 years old, and at about I want to say around October was when that list reappeared to me. I had a pretty horrible day at school. There was this one classmate who constantly, very persistently and consistently had something to say about me, even though I never talked to him ever. It was just he sat behind me in class and found the need to pick on me for the way that I looked constantly. And so after this bad day of school with him just constantly putting me down with his words about the way that I looked, I was very clearly reminded of that list of agencies. And so when I got home, I looked through the list and I went on their website, and I noticed that there was a submit button on the website where you could send in photos to these agencies for the potential of being signed. And the only photos that I had were of the photographer who suggested I modeled. And so I sent in about 3 or 4 of them. This was my first photo shoot, if you want to even call it that, ever. So it was the pictures were, I mean, they were okay, but they were never ever used because I just looked like I was so uncomfortable in all of them. But I sent them into Elite Model Management, which was the first agency that I contacted here in Miami. And within 5 minutes, I got a response asking me to come into the agency the very next day. I was not expecting that. I just was expecting to honestly send in my photos and to never be back in touch with them. So I was freaking out, my mom was freaking out. At first we were kind of skeptical because of how quick the response was, but we decided to just go with it. We went into the agency the very next day, and I remember exactly what I wore. I wore jeans, Ugg boots, because apparently in Florida when it gets below 60 degrees we think it is winter time, so we tend to wear full-on winter clothing. And at the time I thought Ugg boots were attractive, and so I wore jeans, Ugg boots, a long-sleeved blue shirt that was not fitted at all. It was so big, and a scarf because, again, apparently 59 degrees is freezing for me. And my hair was a mess. I mean, I can't even imagine what I looked like walking into this agency. And I walked in, I sat into the meeting room with the director of Elite Models and one of the bookers, and they gave me a contract right on the spot. And I remember leaving and being so confused as to how this even happened, because just the day before I was bullied for the way that I looked, and here sitting in front of me was a contract with the world's top modeling agency. And so that is how I got started. The rest is literally history. The next week I was sent out onto my very first casting, and I got booked for the job, and I just felt such a huge confidence boost in myself throughout doing this. And I mean, obviously modeling is very controversial in the fact of allowing women to feel beautiful, but it truly allowed me to take those words that student was putting into my head, and it completely reversed them just by being a part of the modeling industry. This world has allowed me to love things that I once hated about myself. It's allowed me to love my height, my freckles, my hair color, even being awkward, because now being awkward in front of the camera is really in right now, even though I'm definitely much more comfortable. But I took it upon myself to become a model, but the reasoning behind it was actually because I took a negative and I put it into a positive in terms of what this guy said. Yeah, so that's my story about how I became a model. I do know that on all of these agency websites, for the most part, you are still able to submit images. I believe it's about 3 to 4 images for you to submit, and measurements, hair color, eye color, and sometimes they'll even ask you to write a little bit of a description. I recommend finding local modeling agencies in your area that are reputable, who are able to have contacts outside of your town, because I know for me, I was really fortunate to be based in a city that is one of, I mean, it's not the strongest for fashion as far as marketing goes, but it's still a huge step in the door to get to New York or overseas, because I mean, Elite Model Management is a worldwide organization. So being a part of that was such a huge opportunity. But I know that there are agencies that are in smaller towns that you would never even think to be successful. I know an agency here in Florida that's located in West Palm Beach, and it's an agency that's super small, but one of their models just got booked for the Victoria's Secret runway show. Why was that so hard to say? So you never know, and just make sure that whoever you send your information to, that they aren't going to try to ask for money or put you through rigorous like trainings and things like that, because it's all those things like are huge red flags, and you need to be very well aware of that, because I've known quite a few people who have come to me seeking advice to be a model because they just were scammed of thousands of dollars to try to get their foot in the door. And it's so much easier than that. So yeah, anyways, that is how I became a model. Super cool story. And I'm excited to see where all of this is going to lead me. I'm actually in a studio right now because I was taking photographs to send to agencies again. So you know, the process never ends, and you just gotta keep your head up. So anyways, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.